What would you do for power? Would you kill your friends, your enemies, women, children, the old, the elderly? What would you do for power? And thankfully, that's a question that not many of us have to answer for ourselves. We don't have to worry about that kind of thing because, this is the modern day where we have democratic societies and, everything is normal, We got our systems in place to avoid bloodshed on the way to power, though of course that happens anyways. But even so, just think about this for a minute. What would you do for power? And the person I'm talking about, or that I will be talking about, is someone who did quite a lot for power. And this person is most famous for what he did at a hill. And this hill is in the south of England. And it's a low, grassy sort of hill. And it's very nice looking, honestly. I've seen pictures. There's a town nearby, and there's a monastery in the town. And in this person's time, there was an apple tree on this hill that they called the hoary apple tree, which means it was old and wizened and gnarled, like a crook-backed old man, and it was bent. And I presume apples grew from this tree, and imagine, if you will, you've got your sort of wrinkled apples and your new apples that are very nice, and you've got your unripe ones and your ripe ones, and some that are rotting on the ground. And this apple tree is a perfect metaphor for England at the time. Now, the hill this apple tree grew on was and is called Senlac Hill. Now, it's an old English name, and I'm not actually sure what it means. But it went down in history as a place where something happened, something so monumentous in world history that it changed the face of the earth forever. Not initially, not for a while, actually, but all of history as we know it would be different if things had happened differently at Senlac Hill, near the town called Hastings. And the man I'm talking about, the story of Hastings that I want to talk about, is not going to be from the perspective of the side that many people are familiar with. I'm going to be telling it from the perspective of a man who was called by his own contemporaries as Le Conquérant, the Conqueror. I am, of course, talking about William the Bastard. Potentially my own ancestor. Definitely led my ancestors. And I find him a fascinating character. He led a fascinating life. And he started out as the bastard son of a tanner's daughter, and he ended his life as the ruler of England and Normandy, the most powerful vassal of the King of France, potentially even more powerful than the King of France, to whom he nominally was the servant of. And this is a story with war and intrigue and romance, and people threaten the Pope's life, and there are betrayals, and honestly, it's a very moving story, if you ask me. It's an incredibly interesting one, and I'd like to share it with you in the most dramatic way possible. And that's because I want to tell this story dramatically. I don't want to tell it like a historian. I want to tell it like it's a HBO drama, like it's Game of Thrones, because that's really what it is. And honestly, it's a better story than Game of Thrones. Everything in history is a better story than fiction, in my opinion, because it actually happened, and people's lives were changed, and the world was changed because of these things. So, if any of you want to hear the story of William the Bastard and how he became King of England, I'd ask you to please tell me, and share this with your friends, and share it with people you know, because I'm hoping to get into making podcasts, and I really enjoy this. I enjoy learning about this stuff. I enjoy talking about it. So I'm hoping that you can enjoy it with me. So if you're interested, just tell me, and I will continue making this, and I will tell the story of William the Bastard, and perhaps other ones after that. I do have the tendency to ramble a bit, as I'm doing right now, but I feel that if you're the type that enjoys history and enjoys dramatic stories, then you'll enjoy this.